Okay, guys, we are back yet again for the COVID cabal. Back yet again. Hey, sorry we're a little late here, but you guys aren't going to believe what happens. You're not going to believe what happens. Okay, so all was ready. Everything was ready for COVID cabal. About maybe a minute or two late, and I was opening up my fine bottle of Lambrusco right here. Now, this had been in the back of the van, and as you could see, where's the foreshadowing here? You see an empty glass, and you see half a bottle of wine missing, and you see some little rim lines here. So this bottle of wine, remember, this is a sparkling bottle, sparkling red. Okay, guys, sparkling red, and was rolling around the back of the van. And so I opened it, and it was like a fire hose. It's like an absolute fire hose. It was red wine sprayed all over the apartment. All over the apartment, all over my wife, all over the walls. We're trying to get our security deposit back. It's not a good situation. So anyway, little cleanup required. Cleanup in aisle 3. We got about a trash can full of paper towels. But we're good to go now, guys. We're good to go now. Still got a little more than half a bottle of Lambrusco. And yeah, so what are some of the big things here? Guys, what's the big stuff? What's the big stuff going on for you guys? What are you worried about? What are you guys worried about today? What are you guys worried about today? Guys, there's nothing to be worried about. There's nothing to be worried about. Salmon, I know that you can't sleep because you're thinking about all that money. You're thinking about all that money. I know that. That's why you can't sleep. Yep. Yep. Guys, I don't know about you, but it doesn't seem to matter what's happening. It doesn't seem to matter what little twist they have. I have to admit to you guys, okay? Look, I'm a human being, maybe trying to get into the 5D, right? I'm in the 5D, try to be there. But I got to tell you that there were days in the beginning, there were days in the beginning, I wasn't going to show it on here, but I had moments. I could feel the energy shift. I could feel the hit. I could feel, oh my God, what's going to happen next? I get grounded and I'd feel good. It's like, trust the plan, right? Trust in the plan. Guys, I have to tell you that stuff that's been happening recently doesn't matter, oh, they certified the state, doesn't affect me at all. I don't feel a single energetic shift from any of it. I mean, it's like the most minor things. It's getting more and more mild. Every time they try something, it's like the bump. The bump is like, it's like they just can't generate enough fear. They can't generate the fear. Are you guys understanding how this works? Are you guys understanding how this works now with the energy and how they are able to do these things? It's like a magic. They're able to do these psyops, but they need to get fear from the population. They try to create fear, and then they try to harvest it into the next fear cycle. But it's not working anymore, guys. It's not working. We're getting close to the 21st. Now, look, I want to say this about the 21st. I got to make this point. 21st is like an official transition point, just like the 21st of 2012 was an official transition point. But don't put a lot of pressure on it. It's not like you're going to wake up the next day and the world's going to be completely different. It's just a big energy shift. It's a big energy shift. And so if you put too many expectations on it, you probably won't get as much of it as you wish you would get out of it. So just, understand it's a significant date, but also don't go crazy about being like, what's going to happen on the 21st? What am I going to experience? Just feel the energy. Just feel the energy. We have reached critical mass. Too many people aren't for the same store anymore. It's 100% correct. 100% correct. I got to tell you, I see a lot more panic though. I mean, can you imagine the level of panic? Can you imagine the level of panic when their, Arizona legislature's hearing, they have a hearing on fraud, basically, and they're listening on all this stuff. And the Secretary of State and the governor are just plowing straight ahead, right? Like ignoring it. Like, I know that some people get freaked out when they see that. They still get a little bit worried. Like, well, what does that mean? Like that we just lost Arizona. That's one way to really piss off the legislature, because that's a complete insult. It's a complete insult to the legislature, which is why Rudy Giuliani was telling them, reminding them that you actually have the power, not them. Legislatures, it's really funny, like to give you an idea of the inversion. Legislatures were what the Constitution, the Founding Fathers empowered the most, right? Just like juries over judges and executives. And why did they do that? They did that because they understood that it was way more difficult to corrupt a whole group of people. Way more difficult to do it. And that there's always going to be some people there that they can speak out. You know, you can get a jury of your peers that's completely you get a judge that's bought, or intimidated, or you can get a jury of peers. It's a bunch of people, right? A bunch of people in your community. So, guys, I don't worry about this stuff at all. It doesn't even affect me. And as you guys were saying, Duke of Texas here, need to know about Abbott, please, good sir. Abbott rejected Dominion voting systems. I don't get the impression Abbott's a compromised individual. I mean, Texas didn't flip, right? We don't have any, they stole a couple 100,000 votes at least in Harris County and elsewhere in the state. And I think they probably use the same software as Dominion, and we're going to find out that all that stuff happened. But guys, it's not like I don't think that Abbott is responsible for this. He's not like the superhero governor like Ron DeSantis, who's no question, him and Kristi Noem are no question the best governors in the United States right now. So, well, look here. I do think it's going to be done by December 14th. I do think it'll be done by December 14th. I do. We now have it going to the Supreme Court. It's confirmed it's going to the Supreme Court. It's focused on Pennsylvania. It's going to unlock everything. It's going to break the dam. It's going to happen next week. I don't know when exactly Trump's going to be putting down his speech. Part of me thought, I was thinking that he's going to do it before the rally on Saturday, but maybe he does it early next week. We're going to see. All we can predict, all we really know is that there's a hard deadline coming. Trump said that he would concede if he did not win the Electoral College. Okay, so we know he's going to win the Electoral College. Salman, you know why it takes too long. You know why. Every single day that goes by, more people wake up. Every single day that goes by, more people get emboldened to say F you to the authorities who are trying to steal this stuff. Every day, Trump has every incentive to run out the clock on this, because every single day he pushes this further and further. The legislatures start to understand, they have a backbone. We have enough awake now, but we don't have enough angry awake. We want more angry awake. That's what we want. We want more angry awake. We want more of a population that says, we want more legislature. We want people who say, no fucking way. You are going to give this election to the person who won it, or you're done, right? And we had Linwood today. He talked about how he thought Governor Kemp should be going to jail soon for defamation. Should be going to jail. So it's all moving this direction. Now, the big, I don't know if he's paying out of pocket for the recounts, but it doesn't matter. The big thing that came up was the Barr Durham material. Barr Durham. Right? So this was the big thing, that Barr is not going to be investigating anything, and said he hasn't seen any evidence of fraud yet. Guys, look, I'm not going to, everything's disinformation. But Barr saying that he was going to have Durham continue the criminal investigation into Russiagate, into Biden, Biden presidency or whatever, blah, blah, blah. By the way, guys, Trump's looking at 2024 because he's probably going to run in 2024. He's not going anywhere. Look, I want to remind you guys, Trump doesn't run in 2024. If Trump loses the election, they will throw him in jail. and they will take all of his assets. There's like a 0% chance that Trump concedes, because conceding is actually, for these people, it's death. It's death. Or it's complete. It's a complete elimination of everything. There's no. Well, a lot's going to change in the next 4 years. A lot's going to change in the next 4 years. Okay, but guys, there is in jail for trying to stop their plans. I mean, guys, I have to keep emphasizing this over and over again. You notice how they were arresting people for breaking these different laws, and they want to vaccinate everybody, and they want to keep everything shut down, and they're stealing elections, right? We have no civil liberties. You understand what's coming if Trump doesn't win. It is literally like it's the Great Reset or it's the Great Awakening. It's the Great Reset or it's the Great Awakening. So there's no like, oh, we'll see what happens in 2022 midterms. Oh, we'll see Trump in 2024. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous stuff. The media is saying that because what they're trying to do, this is a psyop. They're trying to say 2024, right? They're trying to say 2024 because that's supposed to give Trump supporters hope. Like, well, maybe it's not over. Maybe we got another chance. Maybe we can play again. No, it's all bullshit. It hasn't worked at all, I think, really. It hasn't worked really at all, except for on grifters. But we are, I mean, I want to go back to the Barr Durham thing here. Barr made this statement, which the Associated Press kind of manipulated. And then Barr goes to the White House and then mentions that Durham's going to continue the investigation. So why is he going to the White House, and then why is he saying that? Also, we have to keep in mind here, one of the things that was said by Barr was that Barr is a district attorney. Okay, he is the attorney general. And so what do attorney generals do? Attorney generals do criminal cases. Criminal cases take a criminal case of this magnitude. Like, people have been wondering, what's Durham doing behind the scenes? Now, look, I understand everybody's impatient. I get it. I don't want to be just throwing out random hopium, okay? But I do not believe, I mean, all the stuff with Barr doesn't make any sense that he's flipped, he's anti-Trump or anything. It sounds like disinformation stuff to me, first off, because we don't win the election because of a criminal case. That takes a long time to do. A civil case is fast, rapid fire. Civil cases has to do with, did you win the election? Were these votes taken? Now, taking of the votes is also a criminal issue, but it's also a civil issue. And the civil stuff gets fast-tracked because of the situation here. If you're going to send people to jail, you need to have a long trial. You need to have Nuremberg. Guys, Nuremberg. It's what we're talking about here. It's why they keep talking about Nuremberg. Has anybody noticed that? Nuremberg keeps coming out into the public consciousness. Nuremberg. So that's what's coming next. But that's going to take, that's why I kept saying, like, we're going to have this going on all throughout 2021 and maybe beyond. I think 2021 will probably do it. But we are going to have, throughout most of 2021, like, people are going to be arrested. This person's going to get arrested. This person's going to resign. It's going to be a flood of indictments. It's going to be a flood of convictions. It is, because it's so deep. But guys, we don't do that in the next 12 days, right? That doesn't happen. What we get is a civil victory win. And Trump has this stuff. Now, how does he have this stuff? Now, some people claim that he got this because he could intercept the wire traffic, of the votes being taken overseas. And that very well could be true. I have heard that Hammer and Scorecard software tries to block that, so that people can't detect it. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not a cyber warfare person. Other people say that, you can try to conceal stuff, but you can always find a virtual trail. You can always find it. You can always find a virtual trail. The Supreme Court is not majority corrupt, Salman. So the Supreme Court, 4 of the justices are corrupt, 5 are not. And the 5 that are not support Trump or support, that's not even a fair thing to say. They're objective justices. Honestly, they're objective justices. But this is an objective case. They're not compromised. And so they will vote according to how it should be. Now, so what happened with this server? So this is the alleged reason why we had to go get this server. in Frankfurt because we had to get the hardware to cross-check all of the stuff. We had to go to Frankfurt, Germany, and raid it. And this is where allegedly, as we talked about last time, that these 5 special operations people were killed. Okay, that they were killed. But here's the thing I've heard recently. I've heard, because people have been saying Gina Haspel, right, who is the director of the CIA, may she rest in peace, perhaps, because she was there at the place in Frankfurt and she was shot. Some people say she died. Some people say she was just wounded and that she got sent to Gitmo and that she's talking. I don't know, but you guys have been asking me about what does the boot mean? Everybody noticed, in the middle of our last COVID cabal on Sunday night, Biden fell and broke his leg, right? He fell in Great Falls, Virginia. Meanwhile, Dan Scavino flies over top of Great Falls and says, shows a video of it. More comms. People have been asking about the ankle break, about the boot. Well, one of the reasons for the boot, remember when John McCain got the boot? One of the reasons for the boot is that there's an ankle bracelet. And so it's a way to conceal the ankle bracelet. People saw, videos of him. He's walking fine on this boot. He was walking fine before he got the boot. He's an old man with a hairline fracture. He's walking fine. Hairline fracture. He's walking fine. Could be, but the boot means something. I think everybody agrees that even if there's no ankle bracelet there, everybody agrees that something occurred. Okay, and then we have this story, as you guys mentioned, we had this story about Obama getting arrested. We have the story about Obama getting arrested in international press. Got arrested in Hawaii, and there's a whole thing with different names, district attorney involved, all this different stuff. I don't know. I mean, it's on American press. Apparently, it can't be released in American press. There's a gag order on it. Guys, it is very, very the transfer of control device from Trump to Biden. There's a lot of crazy stuff. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on behind the scenes. But what I want to emphasize for you guys is that everything's going great. Everything's going great. Energetically, I don't feel a shift from what they're doing. I don't feel a shift. Can you actually, guys, can you ask yourself, in all honesty, does it feel like Biden's the next president? Don't listen. Don't tell me, what did you see in the news? What are they reporting about? Do you feel like Biden is the next president? Do you feel it? No one feels it, right? No one feels that Biden's the next president. You can say, well, Biden's really going to be Kamala Harris. Do you feel Kamala Harris is the next president? No, right? And guys, she's not given up her Senate seat. Why would she not give up her Senate seat? Everybody else has done that, or they've done what's like a targeted, we're going to resign on the date when I become vice president. Fine. No announcement, nothing. You feel something dark around her because she was being groomed with tons and tons of dark rituals to be the person who runs this New World Order situation. She's basically groomed to take over what was supposed to be Hillary Clinton's role. So they were trying to infuse all this dark energy in her very quickly because Hillary Clinton had years to build that up. She had years of preparation. She was supposed to take it in 2008, guys. They pulled back and they put Obama in because the public was starting to rebel. And so they had to do like a delay mechanism. And so they had to put somebody in who was going to pacify the public before she could take her throne. And so she's never been very happy about losing her throne. Kamala Harris was supposed to take the next one, okay? She was supposed to take it. And so they've been doing all sorts of rituals around her. But do we feel that they're going to be president? Do we feel like either her or Biden are going to be president? We don't feel that. We don't feel it. And you have to trust that feeling, because that feeling, you will learn this. If you don't learn it yet, you will learn it. That feeling is a truth. That feeling is what connects you to the 5D, the higher truth. And you may not be able to use reptilian logic to interpret it necessarily. We are interpreting it with that, right? What we're trying to do here, we're trying to read the tea leaves on this plane and understand it. But there's a knowing. There's like an intellectual knowing, and then there's a knowing, a deeper knowing, right? It's the same kind of thing that happens when you love someone and you know maybe they're not good for you, or you know that they have some kind of problems. That's the thing, like I had to learn as a coach, is that you have some people, it's like, well, you should objectively get this, maybe you should objectively get this kind of girl, but then a lot of guys would get that girl and they wouldn't be attracted to them. They wouldn't have as much of a resonance with them. And I'm not saying that you can be drawn towards a bad girl that you should stay with her. I just mean that there are things that draw you to people that are on a different level. And this is why so many, you know, hippie people, they abuse it. They talk about twin flames. They talk about soulmates. But the reality is that is true. That's true. I think that one of the issues is that they talk about it like it's always going to be super easy, right? That like everything's going to be perfect all the time. You know, that's a fantasy projection. And that's where they get caught. But the reality is that we do choose people based on a higher thing. And we know it when we see them. When we meet them, we already feel a pull towards them. We don't know why, but we feel a pull towards them. And I agree with you. And romance is not perhaps the right term for it. But there's a sort of knowing between you and the other person. There's a draw, okay? Well, what are my thoughts on indigo children? I mean, I'm an indigo. Second wave, reporting for duty. Yeah, I'm a second wave indigo. Like I've done the research on it. It's a perfect fit, especially given my birth story, which I've said before. So, you know, strategically deployed. Hey, I tweeted this out a while ago, but I was deployed here. I volunteered for service. Because the thing is, once you enter the prison planet, you don't know if you're going to get out. So, you know, that's why I'm in it to win it. Because we're not we didn't come here to get trapped. We came here to break everybody out. And so it's almost over. It's almost over. We don't have to worry about it. And what are some big signs of things to come? What are some signs of things to come? So we can talk about a couple other stuff on here. You know, we got the monolith in Utah, right? The monolith in Utah, and then the monolith in Utah moves to Romania. Now where's the monolith? Where'd it go? Maybe it's a viral marketing campaign. People have been saying maybe it's a viral marketing campaign. But, you know, I don't know. There are higher dimensional stuff. People were posting the new moon the other day, or the full moon rather, and they were seeing stuff around it. I don't know. I mean, I didn't have my binoculars out. I didn't have my telescope, but it's guys. There's so much stuff that's coming. There's so much stuff that's coming in the future. But right now, we just got to hold the line. We got to stay in present state. We got to enjoy it. We got to enjoy this situation. I really think that you should be enjoying this as much as you possibly can. Because this is exciting. This is exciting. We're not going to have anything this exciting. Everything's going to be so smooth and so easy. I don't want to get, we'll have up and downs, right, throughout our lives. But it's a density shift, okay? And so as we start to move away from this, like, we're feeling pretty good for the most part. I have to tell you guys, I know a lot of people who are in dissonance. Okay? They're in dissonance. And they're having the worst time of their lives. Everything bad's happening to them. Everything bad is happening to them. They are so stressed out. They're freaking out about everything. They're attacking people around them. This is what happens. It's what happens. what happens, guys. That's what happens. I've given my commentary on Book of Revelations before. I think that's a Cabal timeline. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. But I've been open to the possibility of Trump being the second beast. I don't feel that at all. I'm open to the possibility of it. I've also heard, and this is maybe more accurate, that comes well down the road after the Golden Age. That comes after the Golden Age, perhaps. I think it's safe to express feeling. Yeah. I mean, I express feeling all the time. There's a misconception that like guys like expressing feelings is weak. I mean, it depends how you do it, right? It depends how you do it. But the bigger thing here is that, you know, I love that Sophia was doing some great stuff coming. She's had some great stuff out on Twitter today. I was trying to retweet it. She was talking about men. And, you know, men should be pissed off. Men are the people who create structures in society. Men should be pissed off. She's like, fuck all that, like, men having emotional stability. Like, men should be angry. Men should be wild. It's completely right. It's the ability to tap into emotions and move through emotions that is mastery. Which is one of the reasons why, you know, in the last dating relationship Periscope, we talked about this a bit, but, you know, I've never been like a big fan of stoicism. I much prefer to be a guy who goes from, you know, anger to laughter, right? A guy who goes from intensity to lightness. I would prefer to go through these swings, like, you know, like being a part of Earth, being a part of nature. In a way that's very different than the feminine does that. But that's the thing. We want to get grounded with that. I'm a Gemini. It's true. I'm also Capricorn ascendant. So I'm you know, I love chaos. Chaos. I was born for this. Literally, I was born for this. So I'm going to tell you guys very clearly that whatever the details happen here, because I'll be gradually doing a little less of these as time goes on, okay? A little less of these as time goes on. I'm not leaving you, don't worry. I'm not leaving, I'm not going anywhere. Got a baby on the way. I'm going to be pulled in more and more towards that sort of domestic world. And you know what, guys? The reality is that you guys are ready. You guys are ready. You're initiated. We're going to be in here. My wife's in the background listening to Trump. I don't know what she's listening to. It's funny. You guys are initiated. You guys are initiated, right? You don't need me to talk about all the different details that are going on. And we will keep talking. We'll keep talking. I'll be doing 2 a week at least, right? I'm not going anywhere. But, you know, remember the week after the election, it was like every day. We got to be showing up every day. Got to keep you guys in formation. You guys are there. You're ready for it. You're ready to be leaders in your own right. You're ready to spread the love. You're ready to push that stuff out there. Lambrusco is great. And I got to tell you guys, I love Lambrusco because it's just light. Like, I'm a fast drinker, so I like low alcohol things because I like the experience of drinking. I don't like the experience of like getting shit-faced or anything. I like to have a glass of wine. I like a little bit of the flow. And I don't like beer, so low alcohol wines are always my favorite stuff to go with. Lambrusco is great. It's like 11, what is this one? 11, 12%? 11.5%. See, look, I just know it. I know it. Yes, you may ask a question. You may ask a question. I will not name a baby salmon. There's no way I'll name my next cat Salmon. My second cat will be Shepherd and Salmon. But you guys have the tools to move forward. And we're going to be talking about more and more high-level stuff because I have to tell you guys, in all honesty, I love seeing all the different stuff that happens day to day, but it's not – the details are not as important anymore. They're becoming less and less important as we get closer and closer to the end point. You know, there's less to be speculated on. Because we already know where it's going. So it's kind of like talking during a movie. Like maybe you guys missed some of the movie before, and I was like, no, this is what happened. This is what happened. I'm trying to like catch you up to speed on what's going on in the movie. Now you guys are caught up to speed on the movie, so we can all watch it together at the same pace, and we can just share the energy together as we move into the next stage. But I'm always going to be here. You'll always have me. Or at least you'll have me for a long time. I don't intend to go anywhere. So let's see. You guys are all welcome to ask me some questions right now. I do not. The Vecchia Modena was phenomenal. See, this one, this is a red one. Let me actually do it this way. This makes more sense. So you see how red this Lambrusco was, which is why it was awful when this thing sprayed all over the fucking walls. But Lambruscos can be relatively light, almost like a light pink, light magenta. I prefer those ones, to be honest. But they're good. They're really nice. They're really nice stuff. When was the last time I made her smile? I don't know. Probably like a minute before this Periscope. Let's see here. Simon Parks. Let's see here. Beaujolais Nouveau is great. I'm glad you guys tried it out for the Thanksgiving special. Let's see what else here. I don't know who Simon Parks is. Oh, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that, Kane. I have to go check every single one of the Periscopes I've done, which is no big deal. There's a lot of stuff I intend to do after this is all over. As you guys might expect, the biz will shift. The biz will shift a bit. I'm still doing dating relationship coaching, but as you guys can tell, we're getting a little bit more expansive here. There's a little bit more full spectrum stuff. I'm helping people more and more out on business related things, more and more out on spiritual things. So is CNN getting exposed as we speak? Because I know Project Veritas got that. They got the goods on them about playing all that shit up. This is a good question. Austin. It's a great. I was actually thinking about this the other day. What's happened to Austin Steinbart? Now, people have told me he's been in jail. People have told me Austin's been in jail this entire time. There's been a couple of tweets from him. I have to say, there's no question that he fizzled quite a bit. Right? He fizzled quite a bit. I don't think we've heard the last of him, though. I really think he has a role to play. As I've said before, I don't think he's Q. I think, was it possible in a different timeline he was Q? Was it just a marketing ploy to get attention? Probably more that. I don't know. He's not Cabal, though. He's not Cabal, and I don't know what his deal is. He seems to me just like a DIA agent who had a mission. And maybe part of his mission was to kind of pull off a Splinter Cell. I mean, he created the Phoenix Vault, which is supposed to have all the crowdsourced stuff. Odds Ezra Cohen is Q. I don't know the odds. I don't know. I wouldn't bet on any of this stuff. I can tell you I don't think JFK Jr.'s Q. I don't think JFK Jr.'s Q. If he's alive, I don't think he's Q. Salmon's probably Q. If anybody's Q, it's probably Salmon. Because he you can see Salmon, the kind of things he says is exactly like Q. It's identical. So probably has to be Q. Can we bet on that? Let's put some money on Salmon being Q. No, guys, in all seriousness, in all seriousness, I have not done a past life regression. No, in all seriousness, Q is a military operation. It's a military operation, but I think that the military operation might be dealing with multiple timelines. Like they're dealing with quantum computing. So it's the people who are in military intelligence who are using looking glass technology. That's basically what Q is. They're white hats. It's 100% a white hat thing. Some people were saying that they were retired white hats. I don't know, but Q is definitely a psyop, and Q is definitely like, but it's a positive psyop, right? Here's the only problem with Salmon being Q unpredicted is that they would close the contract immediately. They would get everybody's money and then they close it before we learn. That's what they would do. Yeah, Alex Jones doesn't like Q. There's a segment of the truther community that really hates Q. I have to tell you that I'm not convinced by it. It's my personal opinion. I'm not convinced by it. And the reason I'm not convinced by it is because I think people look, this is no disrespect to Alex Jones, the big guy, right? Although as I've told you multiple times, I don't watch the show because I feel like I would become schizophrenic if I watched him. Every single time I listen to him, I feel like he just I go on tangents, okay? But he goes on so many tangents. It's too much. It's too much. And then it cuts to commercial. So I can't do it because I feel like I'm not learning anything. I feel like it ends up being too much rhetoric. Someone needs to nail him down, like Joe Rogan, okay? Here's the thing. Alex Jones, I don't think these people like Q because Q is... There's kind of an element when you're like the first on the field and you're the one who's sharing all this stuff and you're putting so much of your own personal energy into trying to change things in the world, you have an ego investment in the fact that you and other people like you who are like alone on the field are the real heroes. And so you don't want to have something like Q, some sort of, operation. You don't want to feel like that takes away your thunder. Yeah, David Icke, the same. No, 100%. All these people, they all feel threatened by it. And guys, this is pockets of dissonance, right? Truthers can have dissonance. If they're trying to make a hierarchy, no, you have to listen to David Icke. No, you have to listen to David Wilcox. No, you have to listen to Alex Jones. Those are traps. They're ego traps. It doesn't mean they haven't done good work. Doesn't mean they haven't told the truth, mostly. But they don't want to acknowledge this other thing because then they become smaller compared to it. So they've been kind of gatekeepers in their own way. They've been kind of gatekeepers, and that's like an ego thing. And so when Alex Jones, I listened to him on Joe Rogan, and when he was asked about Q, he just kind of was like, "Oh, they're LARPers, blah blah blah." But you can tell the response was emotional. There wasn't like, "Here's why they're not correct." It was just like, I'm gonna dismiss it, right? Whereas, it's no disrespect to what these people have done being first on the field, but Q has woken up far more people than them. It's woken up far more people. And the other thing that has to be mentioned, see, I don't know who Sean Stone is, unfortunately. You can tell me who he is. So, these are kind of the things. Alex Jones deserves a statue. Alex Jones is a hero. He's an American hero as far as I'm concerned. And he needs to retire after this is all over and get some fucking rest. I think he will die when this is all over, though. I don't think Alex Jones is destined to be much in the new world. And he said as much himself in the last Joe Rogan, but you really feel that. Thomas Sheridan's great. So what was another question here I wanted to answer? I saw some stuff. Yeah, people like the attention. There's a lot of people who are service to self, and you can tell, right? And we talked about Cernovich. Cernovich was a truther, became service to self. I mean, he's a bit worse because he really went off the deep end. But the point here is that you have to check people on this stuff, and guys have to check me. I mean, I try to keep aware of it. Like, I don't like I love all the energy. I love all the stuff that you guys are giving me, but I mean, ultimately, like, you guys are gonna know. Like, the things I was talking about in March, it was like, oh my god, no one knows this stuff. What's going on? It was like crazy, right? But you guys remember the early COVID cabals? Those first 2 weeks of COVID cabal. I know for so many of you guys, the people who have been here for a long time, it was like, holy shit, adrenochrome, Antarctica, celebrities with ankle bracelets, cabal, what the fuck is going on? Like, none of us had even, you guys hadn't even thought of this stuff. But, okay, now we're over 6 months away, right? Over 6 months past that 8 months almost. And you guys are on level. You guys know about this stuff now, and we're talking about current events. And the point is, as their consciousness raises, there's no more secrets. That's the point of the Great Awakening. It's not that like I know all or you know all. The only thing that determines that is the amount of inner work you do. How clear is your filter? So as we continue to move into this age, I mean, you guys are all going to be adding value in your own ways. And the gatekeeper stuff is gone. It's gone. It's that people have separate skills. People have certain ways of being able to provide energy and provide insight in certain domains, and they're trustworthy. And look, we have to be honest. The global population needs a lot of work, and we're not going to get the 5D overnight. It's going to take a long time, and those of us who are there are going to have to be taken to leadership positions. There's no question about that. But we have to understand that, it's one of the reasons why I don't like to work with clients forever. I'm happy to have a renewal, and in certain cases more than that. But for the most part, it's like one of the best things is when a client's good. A client's like, their life is great. They're not, maybe not everything's perfect, but they have the tools they need. They've learned what they can learn. It's like, cool, now leave and go on to your next path. That is the best feeling. It's not like, I got to get my cult. Everybody's got to stay around me forever. They can't deviate from, Pat Stedman's teachings, like whatever. Yeah, I'm not so I don't even know a ton about Oliver Stone, please. The Neighborhood. Cerno annoys people every day. Now he's just said, what did he say today? I just saw the headline. The thing is, I can't see Cernovich's stuff. But whenever I go to start a Periscope, I think I still follow him on Periscope from like back in 2017. And it said Georgia the Republicans the rally today just cost Republicans the Senate seats in Georgia. How do you make these conclusions? What are these conclusions based on besides for just like you throwing bullshit at the wall? Like, I don't understand where this stuff comes from. I don't understand where it comes from. Now, I did hear that Democrats will steal the Senate races again, and that's going to be the real hammer on the criminal trials. Maybe so. I don't frankly understand why that would be even necessary to go through. But it's irrelevant to the fact that, like, whatever happened with Ali, and frankly, you know what? I think this just shows the scumbag stuff, because Ali was right there. And Cernovich has been with Ali, so why is he saying this kind of shit to Ali? He's actually he's like on the ground trying to do stuff, trying to build this stuff up. Sorry. No, I think that, my gym, what they have on the wall is they have hats, they have MAGA hats, but they say make politicians afraid again. And I don't think fear is a positive emotion, but if you are a negatively polarized individual, you should be afraid of the awakened masses. You should have a taste of your own fear. You should have a taste of it. Because when the masses awaken, and they're getting very close to awakening, they're gonna wish they're gonna wish they had chosen differently. I can tell you that much. Because we're not fucking around. We are not fucking around. We are sick of it. We're sick of them. We're sick of their psyops. We're sick of their games. They are not allowed to be on this planet anymore. We're trying to make this planet into a heaven on earth. That's why America was founded. The city on the hill. The Pilgrims came here to make the city on the hill. It was known, it was prophesied that America was the new Atlantis. And that's why they left Europe. That's why they came here. And that's why their reign ends here. The founding fathers seeded this place. And frankly, I mean, I don't want people to be misconstrued here, because I think a lot of history is revisionist about this. We had fights with the Native Americans, and, yes, obviously our culture became dominant. But the reality here is that Americans were how do I put this? Last of the Mohicans. The American settlers, in a certain sense, became like Native Americans. Like, we're such a fucking intellectually lazy society that there is no remembrance or honoring of what the America was like, especially in the 1700s, through the Revolutionary War, especially at the peak, at the French and Indian War, that period. When that was like the thing, is that one of the reasons the Americans separated from the Brits is that the Americans had become more like the Native Americans in a certain sense. They had understood the freedom, they understood being taught the light path from nature. They were trained, they were built in the American wild. And when the Brits came and they fought, against the French, we fought together. They looked at the Americans as uncivilized because the Americans were wild. They had gotten back in touch with that wild heart that the Native Americans taught us, the wilderness taught us, the American continent taught us. So, guys, this has been in the works for a long time. There's a reason why the legislatures are here. There's a reason why America didn't get involved with foreign wars. Why didn't America get involved with foreign wars until the cabal took over America? Because America understood that foreign wars were cabal wars. Why would we get dragged down in low vibration stuff? In fact, we quarantine zoned the entire Western Hemisphere. We said no cabal activity in the Western Hemisphere. If you guys want to fuck around, do your stuff the rest of the world, that's fine. We are going to continue to incubate. We are going to continue to take your highest vibration people who don't want to be under your tutelage. And we are going to incubate them. And we are going to create a resilient culture that will eventually overthrow you. And that is what's happening right now. We are at this end game, and the founding fathers predicted it. They predicted the fight for the soul of the country, but they trusted in the divine plan for this nation and for the world, because there are people around the world who want the same thing. But never forget that if America falls, the world falls. Never forget it. If America falls, the world falls. Because this is the country that brings us into the new age. This is the new Atlantis. If we fall, so falls the rest of the world. So guys, Jay Campbell podcast. Jay said this is coming out in early January. I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to try to get it released earlier because I feel like it won't be as exciting if it gets released then. So I'm going to talk to him about that. See if he's got a lot of podcasts. So I'm going to see if it works for him to get that released sooner. Yeah, Cerno's saying don't vote in Georgia. Yeah, what a fucking just fucking scum. These people. I try to tell you guys. You guys understand. I don't have to try to tell you guys, but Will Chamberlain, Cerno, they're just fucking they're shit. They're shitheads. They're just shitheads. The lawsuits are going to lose. Give up. Now we're going to lose everything. Just block them. Honestly, block them. Just block them. They're fucking losers. Block them. Get them out of your feed. I'm going to block them on Periscope. I don't even want to see him anymore. I don't want to hear about him. I don't want to hear about anything that fucking clown says. It's been fun joking about him, but I actually don't even want. He's a loser. He's a fucking loser. His life. What a fucking tale, How much potential completely wasted. He's a fucking loser. His life's over. After this ends, his life is fucking over. No one is going to care about a single fucking thing that he says ever again. And when he loses that, he's going to lose everything. Maybe it'll be good for him. Maybe he'll get broken in the process. But let's not talk about him anymore. Who's this D. Flynn person? I'll get him. Let me see. I'm going to get him. I'm getting him. Don't worry. God, there's so many comments here. Guys, where is he? Maybe I muted him. That's why I can't find him. I'll take care of him later, guys. Oh, shit. Cerno is sick. He is sick. So, guys, I don't have anything else for you guys of note. I mean, I can scrounge up some topics, but I really think that, we're doing well. We're doing well. We don't have to extend these things too long. We got the Adam Skelly in Toronto. Okay, you're asking about the galactic neighborhood. I don't know. I don't know. I know I've heard about the Orion Wars. I've heard about the Orion Wars. All right. As long as I have wine, I'll keep talking. Um, the Knox were 100% 5D. The Knox were probably beyond 5D. But that's a great point. I mean, that's why I try to tell you guys. Stargate reveals so much. The Knox, they refuse to. They refuse. They're so far beyond that energy that they don't even allow themselves to be affected by it. Someone tries to hurt them, they'll heal with it. I know in some of the early episodes that Stargate tries to help and everything, but the Stargate command, it's like positively polarized people, but at a lower consciousness. Because a lot of the Stargate individuals, right? What's his face? God, my God, it's been a long time since I watched Stargate. Now I just started to forget the Colonel. Oh my God, I'm forgetting their names. Jack O'Neill. Thank you. Yeah, I can't believe that. Jack O'Neill. They're still invested in the fight. Like, we got to protect people, and we are at that level. Like, those are positively polarized individuals at this level, moving up. But as you get further and further up, you don't even like people who are beneath you in consciousness. You just kind of look at them as children, and your energy level gets so powerful you don't even have to deal with it. I have not really been in contact with, I would say, any mediums. I'm guys. I don't. You can have positively polarized entities in your life. There are a lot of people who have done this stuff. They do psychedelics. They interact with these entities, and they can guide them. And I have plenty of friends who have done this stuff. But I have to tell you, you have to be careful, because when you enter into that realm, other entities can get at you. And a lot of pagan religions deal with positive entities versus negative entities. And the entities kind of work with each other. They'll fight against each other, and they demand certain kind of things of humans that are relatively low consciousness. Source energy is different. There is something that I've heard things like this before. But voodoo, right? Voodoo people don't like doing shit on Christians. And I mean like real Christians, like real 5D grounded Christians. Because what happens is when they try to do voodoo, the Christians have they have a white aura. A very, very bright white aura. And what happens is they try to do these like voodoo shit on them, and it just bounces back at them. And that's it. I mean, I don't play around with entities, because why would I? They're not even really that interesting compared to source energy. Source energy is celestial. It's beyond the astral realm. Everything that they try to throw at me, the more I'm able to wield it, the more I purify myself, and the more I'm able to wield it. They can't do anything, and I feel like I hit. It's one of these things. Like, I knew I had to go into the woods for that week, but I didn't understand that I was going to get involved with. I was going to get involved with another demonic attack at the end, as I had surrendered on another level to God. And when I did that, what happens? I got another demonic attack, but this time I was able to wipe out the demonic energy, which I have never been able to do before. I've been able to create protections, but it was like they'd like be attacking the barrier. And this time it was like my entire body went on fire, and the demonic energy was blown away. And when I heard it coming, I was like, you're not supposed to be here anymore. Goodbye. So, but if you fall out of alignment, then you can't do that. Like, that's the rule of it. I can't like go and say, I'm going to throw energy at you and do this. That's left-hand path stuff. I can't do that. I can't do it. But I don't have any. So it's like people are like, well, you should take DMT. You should take this stuff. I don't really know what would happen to me if I took it, because while I'm not perfect and I have more work to do, and you know, I knew I had more work to do. It doesn't matter. Like, I at this point understand there's nothing really fascinating about dealing with demons, and I don't have any interest in trying to interact with them because they're fucking losers. They're losers. Reincarnation's real. It's 100% real. It's 100% real. Guys, the thing about reincarnation, if you deal with a real spiritual teacher, the ones who are like Christian, they don't deny it. They just say they won't go back to it. They just say they won't go back to it. They won't check it out. Because when you start to go back there, you know, arguably there's some traps. And I know some things about my past lives, and I haven't been always good. Let's put it that way. No, I don't use any. I've never used any psychedelics. Never used any psychedelics. I don't have any issue with it. I just think that people are they use them recklessly. I think people use them. They use them to try to like bypass inner work. And what happens is that when you bypass if you do the inner work, you're gonna get connection anyway. That just happens. If you do the inner work, you get the connection. Psychedelics are a way to bypass the window. And if your window's dirty, it's a way to kind of like push a little bit of extra light through, but then you get all sorts of distortions. Yes, fasting does give you a connection. Fasting 100% fasting activates it. I've never had a clearer channel than I did by those last days in the woods. I mean, probably I will choose to die by fasting at a certain point in my life. When I feel like, I mean, we'll have technology and stuff like that, but if I ever choose to die, I'll probably choose to die via fasting. I think it's a very holy way to die. It's a very much a way to naturally release the physical body, and it's not. I don't think it technically counts as suicide either, because you're not saying I'm going to try to not experience the end. It's like you allow yourself to go through the entire process. I don't know who Maximilian Kolbe is. I'm not sure who that is. Yeah, I agree with you, Will. Fasting is really powerful. And the other thing is that, you can, okay, if you do like ayahuasca, there's a lot of preparation and work you have to do beforehand. I'm not trying to be judgmental. I think a lot of people have done some pretty cool things. I have some clients who have done a lot of ayahuasca and have completely healed from it. You just have to be careful is what I'm trying to say. Fasting is a really, actually I have to say that ayahuasca, they tell you to effectively fast beforehand. So the good practitioners really have you do preparatory work, but just going and fucking around with mushrooms and stuff, I mean, you lower your barriers, and so you can get all sorts of stuff coming in, and that's not always good, not always benevolent long term. Ayahuasca can summon demons, yeah. So guys, there's a lot of cool stuff here. Let me see what else. All right, I'm gonna share a couple other things with you. I'm gonna share a couple other things. Let's see what we got here. So I'm gonna go through my list. I'm gonna clear out my entire list. Okay. So we have the JFK Jr. stuff. Now I've gotten questions about JFK Jr. Is JFK Jr. alive? Is he real? What's this whole Q thing? Today, for instance, we had JFK Jr. We had JFK connected with the Christmas tree. We had we had at multiple points, Melania has made the White House last time like the Kennedys. Everything is connected to the Kennedys in this current White House. It's all symbolism. It's all symbolism. People are saying that JFK Jr. is still alive. Now, I don't know about that. In fact, I have not seen clear-cut evidence on Q about why. People in Q seem to believe that JFK Jr. is alive, but I have not seen a specific Q post or whatever that seems to really indicate it. All that said, it's kind of been accepted at this point as an automatically correct thing to say. That JFK Jr. is alive, everybody believes it. I will just say this, okay? JFK Jr.'s death was extremely suspicious, and the narrative changed multiple times, like with his father, around how he died. Now, you can interpret that in that they killed him, like his father, and that, that's the only reason it was suspicious. But the family supported a lot of the suspicious stuff. So some of the things with the JFK Jr. death, he died in a plane crash. Okay, he was flying into, I guess, I don't know, Martha's Vineyard or something like that. And first they were saying, he was a reckless pilot and that he wasn't, on approach correct, or he couldn't see the runway, and all that stuff was fake. Because we have communications of him talking to the aircraft traffic controller. He was in perfect position. Lights had been installed at that point. He was actually a very cautious pilot by all accounts. He had the amount of experience that pilots are usually most cautious because they know how to fly well, but they're not so experienced that they get reckless. Okay, whatever. And so there's the crash, but then there's the thing is that in the plane crash, they immediately took those bodies and they cremated them. They basically, all of the autopsy said was that, they died. There was no confirmation about who the bodies were or whatever. They just said they were died. They were died, right? They were dead. And then they were immediately cremated, and then their ashes were thrown into the ocean. JFK Jr. we're talking about, not JFK Sr. So, and in the autopsy, they didn't mention anything about painkillers because, he had been taking them for some stuff. And then he also had Addison's disease. That was never indicated in the autopsy. So there's a lot of suspicious stuff around this. Okay, a lot of suspicious stuff. But the bigger point here is that, look, did he fake his own death? That's the whole conspiracy. Did he fake his own death? Did him and his wife and his daughter, their family, fake their death to hide? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Let me see what else is here. We have the USB drives in Pennsylvania that gave USB drives across the country that each one gave 50,000 votes to Biden. 47 are missing. Schumer wants to hold confirmations on Biden's cabinet pre-election. Again, desperation. We had the big one here. I can't believe I almost forgot this one, guys. China bought Dominion. Word on the street is that China bought Dominion. Look, Galactic Neighborhood. I'm trying to tell you, I don't know enough about it. Okay, you have reptilians, you have Pleiadians. There are other groups as well. People talk about the blue avians. People talk about the Greys. I have to tell you, I do not know enough about it. It's not my level of expertise. In terms of the groups that are most involved on this planet, there's multiple different races that are involved on this planet. By the way, most of them are humanoid. They look like us. They just have different DNA activation. They're capable of different things. So you might see them walking down the street and you wouldn't know that they weren't humans. You wouldn't know that. Well, allegedly what happened is that, I think I talked about this, but Tiamat, which was the asteroid belt now, is the asteroid belt. Tiamat was destroyed. A lot of different groups from there came over here. There was the Orion Wars, which I don't know the details of, but it was a long-standing war between the Pleiadians and the Reptilians. But Earth has been basically a reptilian farm, and based on galactic treaties, I was going to say contracts, based on galactic treaties, Earth has been under their tutelage. They've been under their control. They were able to farm us, and Pleiadians couldn't do anything. You see this in Stargate, where they make allusions to this with the Asgard, who are supposed to represent a synthesis of the Greys and the Pleiadians. Many believe that they're the same thing, just the Greys are an avatar, or in Stargate they flip that actually the human's an avatar. But the point here is not the details of Stargate, but there's tons of disclosure here that there are treaties, and that there was a whole episode about Stargate Command trying to get Earth under the protected treaties. Because basically, if a planet was protected, then the reptilians couldn't, which were, the Goa'uld, were not able to work with it and use it, right? Yeah, that was the episode. The Asgard bluffed with the Goa'uld. Now, I have to say this. They had to deal with the replicators. Remember, the replicators were going to destroy things. Okay? The replicators... Okay, Stargate didn't figure anything out. Okay, well, what's your point? I mean, okay, you contribute something then. This is a thought that just came to my head right now. But Archons, for instance, Archons are negative entities, artificial intelligence entities. A lot of that sort of dark tech comes from Archons. Archons allegedly came from a different universe. I wonder if in Stargate the replicators are a indication of Archons. I wonder about that. I've been thinking more about that. Actually, I thought about it just right now, so I don't know. But let's see what else. I'm going to just finish this stuff. We have check stubs paid for ballot harvesting. Yep. We have China bought Dominion. Yep. Did Barr bring Durham in to investigate his own Department of Justice? Maybe. We'll see. Big sunspots. Fireballs outside of Western Japan. Crazy. Could be. Could be happening. More signs of 2021. Guys, remember with all the state courts have been against Trump. State courts are appointed by corrupt governors. Trump has been appointing federal judges, not state judges. Federal judges. So when this moves to federal courts, much better playing field. We had a couple of banks burning down, didn't we? We had the Paris Bank of Rothschilds were on fire. Jennifer Lawrence's family farm on fire. Zappos CEO died in a fire. Very interesting. We have our Canadian hero, Adam Skelly in Toronto, opening his restaurant, trying to get arrested. Qantas CEO, pie in the face. It's going down this. A lot of CIA money is off record, guys. So remember this big thing with the Dominion. Big tech, CIA, China, all connected. But remember, a lot of CIA's money is off record. D6, all off record. Okay, they use drug funding to pay for it. I feel pretty sure for the 14th, guys. I mean, some people talk about pushing it back further, but I really feel like we get the Trump win on the 14th. Paul Publisher agrees with me. Magenta hedged a little bit. She said, like, pretty much on the date, but she said maybe a little after. I don't know. I really feel it. I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna say I really feel the 14th we're gonna get a clear Trump win. I feel that. I feel it. And I think Trump gave us that confirmation when he said he would not concede. He would concede if he lost the Electoral College, rather. So if we got that, we got Trump talking about getting rid of Section 230 on tech companies, getting rid of their, their publishing shit. There's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff, guys. I don't care if you don't believe me. It's not about believing me. I mean, I'm not saying this stuff like, oh yeah, this is what's gonna happen. This has to happen. Like a logical thing. It's like my ego. I don't care. I'm just telling you guys what I feel the energy is. Trump's a showman. Okay? This is the last thing I'm going to say before I sign off. If you think for a second that we are not going to, when I say we, not us, not from a heart perspective, but I say from a 3D perspective, if you think on the 13th of December, we are going to know Trump won, you're wrong. It's literally going to be on the day. It's going to happen on the day. So if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen, as far as I'm concerned. Big, intense stuff. This is going to be, because this is a big fight. It's not an easy victory. Okay, we're going to see things moving in our favor, but we're not going to get the answer we want. We're not going to get the outcome we want until the 14th. And that is simply, guys, the end of the beginning. There's a lot more to come. I'll see you guys next time.